How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at The Halloween Tree by Ray Bradbury. This originally came out in 1972, and I was really glad to be able to pick this up. I found it in my used bookstore in October. A really good seasonal pickup. Plus, it's the 35th anniversary hardcover. Always love getting a classic in hardcover, but it features this really cool cover. Up close, you see all the kids getting ready to go trick-or-treating in their various costumes as described in the book, with the Halloween tree behind them. But pull it back though, and it's the Grim Reaper's face with his hood over it. That's really cool. Inside, we actually have illustrations in this copy, which is always fun. You gotta love a kid's book with illustrations. These illustrations are made by Joseph Mungini, and a really fun one is right there on the title page, where we get Mound Shroud flying through the air. And one thing I really appreciate is that every single chapter in this book has a Halloween mask above it. That's just really cool. The story itself, though, really good. If you're looking for something to get you into that fall atmosphere, we all know Ray Bradbury has really thick, sort of poetry-esque prose, really nice, flowery language, and when he's talking about the fall, the Halloween atmosphere, and when he's talking about this great, fantastic voyage the kids are going on, his prose do work really well here. And the story is big, the story is fantastical. The kids are going around through the undiscovered country, traveling through time and space, and learning about Halloween, how the holiday has changed over the years, how our perception of death has changed. It's a little scary. It's still aimed at kids, but there are some scary moments and fantastical things that happen. It's really cool, interesting, energetic, but also educational. You get lots of stuff where they go back in time and they talk about here's what things were like here and here's how it changed later. So kind of think of this as like a Halloween version of Magic School Bus with Mr. Moundshroud going, "Come here, boys! Let's go further into the undiscovered country." It's just, yeah, fun, over the top, and incredibly seasonal. A really good, interesting book. I haven't read too terribly much of Bradbury, but I really do need to find more of his books and just read a ton of them. I do love reading really good books, and this is a fun one, appropriate for the time of year. Let's talk a bit about the plot. No major spoilers, but I do want to say my piece on a few plot points and, analyze a bit of the book. But again, I'll be avoiding significant spoilers. We open up with 8 kids on Halloween. They're all dressed in their Halloween costumes, as depicted on the front of the book. Gargoyle, witch, Tom Skeleton is dressed up like a skeleton. Fun little pun there. They're out trick-or-treating, but they can't find their friend Pipkin. And Pipkin is like their leader, he's their hero, he's the archetype of the cool young boy character. He's Pipkin, he's their leader, and they can't find him. They go to his house, and it's strangely eerie and quiet feeling. It should be full of life this time of year, but it's not. And Pipkin answers the door, and he's not his energetic self. He's dull and cold, and he says, "Guys, I need you to meet me at this haunted house on the outskirts of town." And they go there, and when they ring the doorbell, they'll meet Mr. Moundshroud, a tall, creepy old man who, when they say trick or treat, answers with trick. So yeah, a strange older figure. There's a big field out beside his house, which he refers to as the undiscovered country. He lives in a big haunted house with who knows how many rooms. And outside of his house, he has the titular Halloween tree. a big old gnarly tree with jack-o'-lanterns hanging from its branches. That looks really, really cool. I need to get some styrofoam pumpkins and tie them to a tree next year for Halloween, because, I mean, that looks like a Christmas tree, but instead of ornaments, pumpkins. That would look pretty cool. But anyway, their friend Pipkin shows up when he's whisked away by the Grim Reaper. Death has taken him, and they say, "What do we do?" And Moundshroud says, "We go into the undiscovered country and search for him through time and space." So they're both going to try to save their friend and also going to learn about Halloween traditions. And yeah, like I said, you do get that magic school bus learning through adventure things here. You know, you get to go to places that associate with some of their costumes. One of the kids is going to be a mummy, and they're going to go to ancient Egypt and learn about how they viewed and perceived death there. Then, you know, you get a kid that's going to be a gargoyle. We're going to go to Notre Dame. So, yeah, I do like how the costumes in some ways, some more than other, ties into what's going on in the story, but also talking about history and the perception of death, which is a bit of a mature topic amongst people over time, and how Moundshroud says we take it for granted, but back in the day, sometimes it felt like the sun wouldn't rise tomorrow. You go through the winter, the days get short, people die. Things were harsh in the past, and people had to cope with death. And they also talk about the repeating and circling nature of time. There's the Samhain worshippers that get chased off by the Romans. The Roman gods go away, and now we get Christianity. They build Notre Dame, and then they fill it with gargoyles, grotesque monsters that the book said were unemployed and needed a new job. And I do like this idea of history circling and repeating each other, things changing and staying the same. Now, I know that some of this stuff, there are a few historical inaccuracies, and I mean, this was written before internet times, right? I'm sure Ray Bradbury tried his best, and I know that some of that might bug some people, and I could see taking a notepad and jotting down topics that you may want to research more later. If the book inspires you to do research, probably for the best, but try your best to stay focused on the story in the moment and not constantly get distracted looking up random YouTube videos about history. You know, just keep them off to the side, you know? But that being said, I don't know accuracy levels. I'm just showing up for fun, fantastical adventure. And it really is fantastic. Like, you get scenes in this movie, a really fun scene that, you know, the kids need to go somewhere. I think it's their initial journey needing to go fast into the undiscovered country, where they rip down old circus flyers and build a big kite out of them. And it talks about this kite having pieces of all these photos of animals kind of stitched haphazardly together and forming this crazy big kite, which we get a drawing of here. But I can only imagine, like an animation, all these pieces coming together like in a modern Pixar movie or something. That would look so cool in animation. And you get a scene later where they're running up the steps of Notre Dame as it's being built, and it describes bricks flying through the air and being placed on the ground right before they step on them. Boy, it's like Ray Bradbury glimpsed the future and saw fantastic animation and decided to write it down in book form. It's big, it's imaginative, it's impressive, and really works with Bradbury's prose. It really does its best to get you swept away, and as you're reading this book, it's describing the events of a single night, and when you get to the end, you really do feel like you've been on a big adventure. And, you know, it's always a weird feeling coming down from a book And despite this book being roughly 150 pages or so, you do feel by the end of it like, oh boy, we went on a big adventure. Where am I? My living room. Oh yeah, that's where I was. And I really do like the nature and the scope. And I also like that it is scary. You know, it's not overly scary. It's not unsuitable for kids or anything. But you get things like they have to constantly find Pipkin in all these different time periods. And he's put in some pretty disturbing places. The first time they see him in ancient Egypt, they see his face painted on a sarcophagus during a funeral and can hear his voice through the coffin lid. That's kind of creepy, and a few other places they find him are creepy and surreal in that way. And the way Pipkin was swept away by death at the beginning of this book, the way he didn't feel lively, you begin to wonder what's going on with Pipkin and will he be okay? And seeing him in these different roles throughout time and, you know, where he stands as a modern youth, refracted throughout history, it's good, it's metaphorical, it's historical, and it's surreal and scary. You know, you're a potentially dying kid amongst a long history of our civilization's struggle against death. There's mature themes without getting too unfriendly for kids. It will get them to think about things, and I do like finding ways to stay kid-friendly but working in mature topics. Overall, this book is really good, really seasonal, really gets you in the mood for fall and Halloween, and a nice sort of journey through history. Overall, I really liked it. Definitely be looking for more Bradbury in hardcover pretty soon. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a Halloween playlist on the bottom. If you guys want to see me talk about other Halloween movies and stuff, go ahead and click there. I know they did make this into, I think it was a Hanna-Barbera animation. I'd be curious to check it out, but I haven't seen it yet. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.